Hello and welcome to Verbal to Visual. My name is Doug Neill. Today I'm working on an analogy for bringing together a variety of sketchnoting skills within a given sketchnoting session. I think because sketchnoting involves bringing together handwritten text, hand-sketched visuals, some set of materials, in some cases it can feel like there are just too many options out there, too many small decisions for you to make prior to jumping into some visual note-taking. And I think I came up with an analogy that might make it easier to make those decisions. And this actually came up in a webinar that I hosted last week for elementary school teachers who are bringing sketchnoting into their classroom. And it came in response to a question. That question came from Leslie, who was describing a particular challenge. That challenge of transitioning students from using foundation sketchnote skills to developing their own that has meaning for the individual student. So that kind of gets at this challenge that teachers face in terms of providing some structure for their students as they're teaching their students how to do sketchnoting, but also allowing some flexibility for students to develop their own note-taking process. And the general analogy that I shared in the webinar and that I'm gonna try to sketch out today is thinking about going to a restaurant. And I'm kind of imagining a Mexican restaurant that's more or less fast food where you order at the bar and you actually get to see the thing being made. Often you can imagine these menus that have 2 or 3 primary steps to them. First, you decide maybe whether you want a bowl or a burrito. Then you pick your protein source. Then you pick what toppings you want. I feel like there's an opportunity to do something similar with sketchnoting. In the first step, you pick your materials. In the second step, you pick a specific process that you want to use. And in the third step, you pick some specific individual skills that you might want to focus on during that sketchnoting session. So that's the visual that I have in mind. That's the idea. Now it's a matter of sketching that out in a way that might be helpful for others, with the idea of kind of creating this poster, maybe, that teachers might be able to put somewhere in their classroom to help their students go through this process each time that they enter into a sketchnoting session. But I think it could be helpful for anyone that's doing sketchnoting, just to kind of make those decisions up front before jumping into a sketchnoting session to provide the right bounds to the experience. So my goal with this particular video is twofold. One, to hopefully get to that helpful image that kind of looks like this restaurant menu, but then also to share with you this type of process where an idea came in and there's this real world analogy that I want to sketch out. I'm kind of pulling from this common experience that people have in this type of visual that folks will likely recognize, but I'm adding my own ideas to it. And I think it's that type of theft, this type of analogy that is common in sketchnoting, and that's a useful skill to develop. Anytime you can pull from something that folks are familiar with, use that as kind of a starting point, but then add your own ideas to it, the specifics of whatever it is you're wanting to share, that can be a powerful way to communicate your ideas. So the challenge now will be to see if we can do that merging. And I'm going to start with a Google image search. I want to actually find a reference image of the type of menu that I'm imagining so that I can kind of pull in elements from that. I'm going to get real specific here and try 3-step restaurant menu. So it's kind of like this. I want it to feel like a sign that's hanging up above the counter when you order. Okay, this is kind of essentially what it's like here. Here it says choose your base, choose your protein, choose your flavor. And those are kind of separated. So I guess that's not a bad place to start. Let's do a little bit of drafting. It's potentially this third step that might need the most clarification. One challenge here when it comes to the picking your materials stage is just choosing which materials to actually include. I want to get a little bit of a range here in terms of size, kind of small, medium, large. Also something like a bound notebook as opposed to individual pieces of poster paper and individual index cards. And when it comes to picking your process, there are 6 specific processes that I outline within this resource kit, Sketchnoting in the Classroom, that we've been talking about within the webinars. So I might stick with those as the options here. And I've got 6 options and kind of already developed some icons around them. So I think I'm just going to block out the space for them since this is a rough draft. Kind of the same for the skills as well. In this case, there are 11 skills that I want to mention. I think we'll do a 3x4, but the last 2 will just have a couple. All right, I think I like how this is coming together so far. What I'm going to do next is take this rough draft and still sketch it out on copy paper, but I think what I'll do is give each of these 3 steps their own piece of paper. And I think I'm going to go straight to color, since I have been using a bit of color within the lessons that are in this resource kit. And for something like this type of sign, you would imagine there being some color within it. So I feel like that will help it resemble the kind of thing that I'm trying to pull from. I'm also going to switch around the order a little bit just to save on space. I'm going to do, I think I'll do sketchbook, index cards, poster paper, just because the poster paper is the one that takes up the most room. So I think that'll save me vertical space. I'm also going to add in the writing and drawing utensil because I hadn't mentioned that at all. So I think I'll go sketchbook and pen, poster paper and markers, and index cards and pen, probably. Or maybe I'll just add, I'm kind of rethinking this on the fly. I might keep these individually, but then at the bottom of their space, maybe just say like pen or markers. So I think this isn't too bad for a quick rough draft of what this type of sketchnoting menu might look like. I'll work on getting a higher quality image of this in case you do find it to be useful and want to use it for yourself, or maybe use it within your classroom to help your students figure out how to get the sketchnoting process going. And who knows, maybe one day I'll do a little bit more polished iPad illustrated version of this. But I hope it was useful both seeing this result, but then also seeing the process that led to it. If you'd like to explore other resources that will help you build your sketchnoting skills, then check out the courses that I've linked to down below, including the resource kit, Sketchnoting in the Classroom, if you're an educator. We've also got a solid intro course if you're just starting with sketchnoting yourself, no matter what industry you work in. So check all of that out below, and look forward to talking with you again in the next video. Until then.